Hello, I'm Trent, aka oTradeMark here, and today I want to talk to you guys about fingers. And I'm not talking about the finger that you're going to use to click the mouse button to subscribe to this channel because we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. No, I'm talking about cursed fingers. In Anime Adventures, cursed fingers, basically you get a womb key from Cursed Academy Infinite mode. They just drop from random waves, and then you get one of those keys. You do a cursed womb, which is kind of like a dungeon. It's not as hard as Cursed Parade, but you finish that up and you're going to get a cursed finger. Then you can come over here, talk to Sukuna, and you can basically curse your units. When you curse a unit, you get one stat. Basically, it rolls one stat as an improvement, one stat it hurts. The thing is that the reason why I want to bring up stats, because I see a lot of misinformation about like what the best stats are for each unit. And I've been hanging out a lot in the Anime Adventures Discord and answering questions there. And I was running some tests, running a whole bunch of tests, and I ended up creating this spreadsheet. And I noticed a lot of players were saying like, you want to roll a damage curse on a unit which has high damage because the percent that it increases is going to be higher. Now, while the amount that it increases, I mean, is like it's percentage based, so technically the damage amount is going up. The truth of the matter is that each upgrade that you increase in game is based on a number which is not have any effect by it's basically determined by the unit, not your curse amount, which means that you're always going to be basically like 5 to 10% higher than whatever a non-cursed unit would be. And there's not it doesn't like scale exponentially. It's a linear form. So I wanted to show you guys that because basically I was running some tests. And you'll notice here, so if we had a unit that was just like 100 damage, it went up every upgrade, it went up 100 damage. If we put a 10% SPA curse on it, one unit, and a 10% damage curse on that same unit to compare them, a lot of players are going to think that the damage one is actually going to do more DPS, but the truth of the matter is, without fail, having an SPA curse on a unit, no matter what their SPA is and no matter what their damage is always going to result in better DPS by improving your SPA. Okay? If you guys didn't understand what I just said, it doesn't matter if it's a high damage unit or a super low SPA unit, a super high SPA unit, does not matter. Without fail, your DPS mathematically is going to be higher, assuming that the curse is the same percentage. Your DPS is always going to be higher when you curse an SPA curse rather than a damage curse. So you might think, okay, trademark, that makes it easier. That makes it easy. I can just basically curse every single one of my units with an SPA curse, right? And that's what I will tell you as a general rule of thumb is that yes, 90% of units are going to benefit most from a minus SPA minus range curse. Okay, minus SPA, so you attack faster, and minus range, so you have slightly lower range. That's going to be the best for most DPS units. Now, some support units, maybe you want range, or maybe you want SPA minus damage on certain support units that are just there to debuff enemies or buff your own units. You might want range on those. But for most damage units, minus SPA minus range is the best curse to go for. And when you are cursing units, you can curse them up to 10%. So you can see here, geto, I have a minus 7.2% range, or SPA, minus 7.7% range. Those ranges that it can roll as low as like 4%, and I've actually seen over 10%. I thought 10% was the maximum, but I have seen a 10.4% roll, so it can actually, maybe the cap is 11%, I don't know, but whatever it is, I've rolled about 50 fingers, and I've yet to see a single 9%er on SPA. So whatever the odds are, it's pretty rare to actually see that, or I'm just really unlucky. I don't know. But let's go ahead and roll some of these here so you guys can see. So here's unit Kent overtime. Kent is one of those units that I thought would really benefit from the damage because he's getting percent. He's getting basically with his overtime, he's getting 1% every single level or every single wave. In infinite mode, I thought that would scale with that. But again, it doesn't matter because these things are applied based on that base damage number. He's like an SPA is going to benefit him more than a damage. Now, I need to make a very, very important caveat here. A very important caveat, okay? If we had a unit that was attacking, like let's go ahead and curse this. Let's find a SPA curse, right? Okay, so this is plus range minus SPA. This is the worst curse in the game, basically. I can't think of a single, well, I guess even support units like Erwin, you would probably want plus range minus damage, or maybe you'd want minus SPA. I'm not sure if that causes him to cast the horses faster or not, or slower or not. But this is one of the worst curses in the game. Let's go ahead and do it again. There we go. So this one, the minus SPA plus damage is kind of weird because it basically just cancels each other out. It's kind of like a pointless curse if you think about it. Same with plus damage minus SPA, because damage per second is based on those two values. You know, yeah, it's just a weird one right there. Okay. Plus damage minus range. This one's not bad for some units. What I would tell you is if the SPA is not really high, it's okay if you get a really good roll. Like if I was to roll a 9% damage here and minus 5% range, I would keep that. Even though SPA is technically better, it's going to be very hard for me to roll 9% SPA. So if I got a really, really good roll on damage, plus damage minus range, I would keep it. Let's go ahead and roll one more time. Well, SPA damage, again, that's trash. Plus range minus SPA, trash. Plus damage minus range. Again, this one might be good if the numbers were higher. What we're looking for is really anything over 8 and as low of a negative as possible. We want our plus to be big and our minus to be small. Let's go ahead and keep going. Here we go. Oh, so close. If this was SPA and this was range, that would have been a great roll. It's nearly a 9% there. Here we go. SPA damage. Don't want that. Range SPA. You can see how these fingers go super fast. I mean, this took me so long to grind a 20 pack. You had to do 20 wombs. And look, I've already gone through half of them to roll nothing but trash, essentially. Here we go. Damage SPA again. And SPA damage. Okay, finally. We got SPA range. Unfortunately, our negative range is higher, much higher, 1.2% higher than the benefit that we gain here. This would have been great if it was minus 9%. Minus 9% would have been awesome. I'm going to stop here, but I want to talk about a few units for you guys because there are some units that we need to take very specific look at. Because at the end of the day, whether you roll plus damage or minus SPA, they both provide very similar DPS numbers. So you'll notice here I have a whole bunch of DPS numbers. There's just tons of numbers on the sheet. I don't really expect you guys to figure, to understand what's going on the sheet. But I want to bring up a couple units. Yuta in particular. Okay, Yuta has the highest damage, well, one of the highest damages in the game, one of the highest DPSs in the game, and at max upgrade, he's doing like 150k base damage, right? Some players think that he's good with a damage curse, and that is absolutely wrong. I want to make sure that I'm very clear here. Any unit which has a high SPA is very, very, very crucial to get a minus SPA curse on. Okay, so that includes Yuta, Stark, pretty much anyone that's like over 9 SPA. You're gonna want a minus SPA curse on. In fact, I typically want, I try and roll minus SPA on pretty much everyone because I just think it's the best stat. As long as you're fitting in one extra attack So like, let's pretend that this, circle is a unit's range. As long as I can attack one extra time in the time duration it takes enemies to walk through that circle, it's going to be much more valuable in the SPA than it would have been the extra, whatever X amount of damage on these things. Not a ton more valuable, but I guess the flip side is also true, is if your range was so short that you only got one attack in, regardless of your SPA, like even with the minus SPA's curse, if you only get one attack in, well then technically the damage or range would have been better for you because you only got one attack in on the enemy. The SPA didn't help you at all. So there are situations where, yes, there are scenarios on certain maps with certain units where the range might be more beneficial or the damage might be more beneficial because you're attacking the same number of times even with the minus SPA curse. But I would say those are pretty few and far in between. So instead, what I challenge you guys to do is just, if the SPA is high, roll a minus SPA curse. If the SPA is low, let's take for example a unit like Kent, right? Kent has a pretty manageable SPA. It's 7 to start with, it's 6 at its best. That's a decent SPA. If you rolled something like a good damage curse on Kent, I would absolutely keep it. Any of these units, Jelly has kind of a bad SP on his final upgrade, but any unit that like Erza, my Erza has Godspeed on it, right? So she's already attacking in a pretty good, consistent pace. So if I was to have, for example, to roll a really high damage, I would keep it on Erza. I would keep it on just about anyone aside from, like I said, the units which have really high SPAs. You want to pull that down. It's much more crucial that they attack multiple times on an enemy than it is for them to deal the extra damage. All right, let's go ahead and roll our last few fingers that we have here. We have about 7 more. And what I really want to roll, so I do have a decent curse on Yuta. It's minus 7% SPA, minus 7% range. But we're looking for like that as high of a possible number here. I hope I can get it minus 9 while these, so I'm just going to keep using our cursed fingers here and go for minus SPA. That's what we have to really have on Yuta, but as high as or as low as possible. Minus 9 is basically minus 9 plus what we're shooting for. So here we go. All right, minus 5, minus 7, minus 6. Okay, so this one's pretty comparable to the last one I had. It is a positive 1% gain for us, so we get minus 6.3% on SPA but only minus 5.3 on range. If this was like 8.3 and 7.3, I would absolutely keep this, but we're going to keep going. We have 3 fingers left. 3, 2. Okay, this one's actually a big improvement over my last one. So if you remember, my last one was like minus 7.6 and then minus 7.3 on range. Well, this is pretty similar in that it's pretty much the same SPA reduction, but we have a much smaller range reduction. And with Yuta's range being so big, even like 1% difference could be a significant kind of chunk of the map. It's not that we really need that range on most maps. We're not ever going to utilize it, but I'm just, for now we'll keep it. Once we have another 20 pack, I probably will come back here. And once we have 20 fingers again, I'll probably roll on Yuta again. Let's go ahead and just roll on some of these units that don't have a curse. So I think, oh yeah, this one's pretty bad right here for Erza. It's SPA damage. Let's definitely get rid of that. Okay. Unfortunate. If this was damage range plus damage minus range, I probably would have kept this. Unfortunately, we don't have any more fingers. This pretty much just cancels each other out, so I don't really even know why this is a thing. In my opinion, the curses should pretty much always roll a higher positive trait than a negative one, but it is what it is. This is basically like me saying I don't even have a curse on it anymore at the moment. So unfortunately, that means we got to head back to the Cursed Womb dungeons, farm more cursed fingers. Luckily, if you follow my video on how to tiny task cursed infinite curse mode, or Cursed Academy, you're going to be getting lots of these Cursed Womb keys, way more than you're going to be getting Rikugan eyes. But we also have enough Rikugan eyes to actually upgrade our Gojo again. So anyways, guys, hopefully this helps you out. As to just kind of summarize this, all right, minus SPA, minus range is always good on a DPS unit. It's typically the best curse that you can get. If the SPA on the unit isn't incredibly slow, then plus damage minus range is also okay. And then there are probably some fringe scenarios with certain support units, or maybe even certain DPS units, where on certain maps against certain, you know, whatever leaderboard runs, maybe you do want like extra range so you can reach 2 more paths, or maybe you do want plus damage so that because you're only attacking once in the line. Whatever it is, there are obviously going to be exceptions to the rule, but in general, I just wanted to make this video to kind of clear up some misconceptions that the best curse almost unanimously is going to be minus SPA, minus range, as high as possible, ideally over 9%. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Malo Alpito. Thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out of here.